So far, free agency for the Tennessee Titans has been about defense and special teams. General Manager Jon Robinson, is that how you thought it would play out when it started middle of last week?
We had our targets set on those guys and trying to position ourselves and have them, the discussions with their representation to get them here. We set out to add good football players to the team, and we think we did that with the guys we were able to acquire who were on other teams last year. And then signing our own guys back. So we're excited to get those guys in here and work with them.
Let's talk about the guys you signed back. Linebacker Nate Palmer, defensive lineman Carl Klug, tight end Philip Cyprien. Why were those three priority to get back on the roster?
All three of those guys really bought in philosophically to what we want to be about as a team. Nate, we claimed off waivers from Green Bay and they let him go there. Played two spots for us last year, played some outside linebacker, played some inside linebacker, and was a core member of the special teams. Cyprien was our, third to number 2 tight end back and forth last year. He played in the kicking game as well. And then Carl with, what he adds in the pass rush, and then, played in some base defense last year. Again, all three of those guys are tough. They're dependable. They're team-first guys. They just kind of fit the bill of what we're looking for in Titans.
Why is Logan Ryan the right answer to upgrade at cornerback?
Logan's had a productive career in his time there at New England. He's been dependable, stayed healthy, has played outside corner, has played inside corner, has played on special teams as well. Really good production on the ball, even going back to his days at Rutgers. That was one of the things, when I was in New England scouting him, that kind of stood out to me was just how much he was around the football. And that transition to his play there with the Patriots. So, looking forward to working with him. I think he gives us some versatility to play outside and play inside.
Safety Jonathan Cyprien really impressed all of us when he was in town late last week by how much he wanted to be a part of the Tennessee Titans. And that really speaks to kind of where the franchise has gone in the last year in terms of the perception of where this team's going. Talk about Cyprien, his attitude, and what he brings.
I've been a fan of Jonathan's all the way back to when he was at Florida International. I really liked his play style. He's a tough, aggressive guy. He was impressive when we talked to him when he came out of college, and that really showed, when he was here last week too. He's a team-first guy. His teammates are important to him. He's a smart football player. His on-the-field play, he's a big hitter. He's strong in coverage. He can bang with those tight ends down the field. So we're looking forward to the presence that he brings on the field, and then how good a teammate he's going to be in the locker room.
What does Sylvester Williams bring at nose tackle?
I actually worked Sly out at his pro day when he came out and kind of put him through the paces there in some D-line drills. He's got good quickness. He's really good with his hands. He anticipates, blocks well on the inside. He's got a good feel for keying and diagnosing the different schemes that he might see in there. He's got some quickness. He can get on the edge of a center or get on the edge of a guard, if he's out there in passing situations and kind of threaten the interior of the pocket with his pass rush.
Why was Eric Weems the right answer at returner, and the fact that he can do other things in special teams as well?
I think you nailed it right there. The fact that he's multifaceted in kind of what he can do. He's got good punt return average. He's got good kick return average, and the fact that he can play on the other units. You don't have just a placeholder as a returner. The fact that he can play on the punt cover team, the fact that he can play on the kickoff cover team, that adds value to him as a player.
Some people were surprised that you went after two players who are primarily special teamers, Darren Bates and Brendan Trawick, as quickly as you did. That would seem to indicate to me you think more of them maybe than just as special teamers. Am I wrong?
With special teams and those two guys in particular, and Weems and Palmer, the guys that we have currently on the team, there's a strategic element to that. If we can flip the field position, get our offense the ball back in the most advantageous position so that we can score quickly, or from a defensive standpoint, pin them back and kind of put a stress on the opponent's offense, that's an important factor in the game, and it can determine the outcome of the game. With Brendan and with Bates, those guys, we think that they're impact-type players like that in the kicking game, and they can hopefully provide that stress for the opponent, whether it be their offense or defense, whichever one's going to take the field.
Coach LeBeau likes players situationally. Could those guys be players that could be used situationally on defense?
Absolutely. I think, Trawick probably played a little bit more defensively than Bates did last year. I know he played quite a bit in the Denver game, played some in the Houston game, in the playoff game, where he matched up and covered some tight ends. He's a bigger, longer guy. He showed anticipation skills for the routes. And Bates as well. Bates is a fast, violent player. So I think to what degree they can come in and learn the defense, and if they can provide us some help on defense, you know, when we talked to both of those guys this past week when they were here, it'll be up to them. If they come in and learn the defense and they carve out a niche on defense, great.
It's often said there are 3 phases to free agency. Are we to phase 2 yet?
I don't know when all the phases kind of phase in and phase out. Again, we're going back through our list. You know, there was a kind of a flurry of activity right out of the gate where players found new homes. You know, that was the case with us. We were able to land some guys. We're constantly going back through our list. Is there players that we want to spend some time with, maybe visit, going back and taking a look at those guys to make sure we haven't really missed anybody.
Where do the Titans kind of go from here as free agency moves on and you begin to head towards the April 27th through 29th draft?
You know, like I said, still visiting with some potential free agent acquisitions here over the coming weeks, but really turning our focus now towards the draft, the pro day process, the private workouts with the players. We've got several picks. We can position ourselves to acquire players via the draft. It's an important part of the team building process. So we want to be very exhaustive in our approach to vetting the players and making sure they're going to be good fits here.
He's Titans General Manager Jon Robinson joining us at TitansOnline.com.